Welcome everyone to the 7th Playday of Elite Championship Series. I'm your host CCV, and today in the Contenders Division, we'll be seeing Makers Academy versus SN followed by AQUALIX heading up against Team MANIC. Now, predictions for the first game, which is of course Makers Academy against SN are live or about to be live in the Twitch chat, so get ready with your channel points, get ready to bet them and hopefully win more and multiply them. But apart from that, regardless of which team you think will win, till then, before we head into the game, let's introduce our casters for today, which is of course going to be McCready and Yannick.
Hello.
Alright, gentlemen.
Hey, good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. I'm really excited to get into this game now. A lot of people know I'm a bit of a fiend for Makers Academy. I followed them quite a bit, and I am really a big fan of how they've been improving and how they've been stepping up. So I'm very excited to get into this game, and it's my first time casting with Yannick.
Yeah, same. Really excited. I've heard good things about you, Adam, or I've heard a couple of nicknames, but I won't going to say them on stream. Absolutely,
let's leave it.
Absolutely, it is an honor to cast with you, man. I've seen you do amazing things in the past. And like you said, likewise, I'm very interested in the game, and I can't wait to see what SN and Makers Academy have got in store for us.
McCready, like you said, you've been following Makers Academy for a while. Well, all of us have been doing the same as well. All throughout Season 3 here at ACS, they've played a lot of games. This is, as a matter of fact, the final game in the group stages that both Makers Academy and SN will be playing today. So, a lot riding on this. We'll delve into the stories of these teams later on, and how exactly will this match mean for the futures of Makers Academy, SN and even in our next games of AQUALIX and Team MANIC. But for now, Makers Academy, only one way to just describe them: decimation. They've been destroying their opponent time in, time out. They've played 6 total best of 2 so far, won all 6 of them. They haven't dropped a single map, if I'm not wrong. They came very close to it in their previous game up against Team MANIC. Those went to the 12th round, the final table, the final round essentially, 7-5, 7-5s. It was extremely close. Team MANIC had the opportunity to draw it out, but in the end, Makers Academy prevailed on top. And well, that's exactly what they've been doing in the Contenders Division. Top of the tables, 32 total points. And yeah, they've been having a blast so far. So what are both of your thoughts on that, on their journey so far, and how they've been, just thrashing their opponents basically?
Well, if I may start first, Makers Academy has been absolutely going a steamroll, and I haven't lost a single game. I think that's what you said. So yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, there's almost nothing you can say about them other than they're doing a fantastic job showing, I guess, how this game is supposed to be played in this league. So, well, all props to Makers Academy.
Certainly so. And yeah, I just figured out they drew only a single map against the Last Resort. I was checking it once. But yeah, apart from that, they haven't dropped a lot of maps as well. So they've been playing extremely well. Whereas for the side of SN oh, well, a lot riding on this final game. Like we mentioned already, this is the final game they'll play in the Contenders Division. And if anyone isn't aware about it, the top 4 teams from Contenders will qualify for the championship playoffs. So, for now, SN they are at spot number 5. That is exactly 1 spot away from qualifying. And this is their one final game up against the champions, the reigning champions themselves. So, if SN should they have any chance of qualifying, it is going to be against the best this division has to offer. And oh boy, is this going to be a hill to climb for SN they need to win at the very least a single map, or because if they draw a map and say for example, let's take the hypothetical scenario that they draw a map and then they lose, that's only 1 point. That's enough leeway for the other teams who are vying for spot number 4, which is of course which is of course Last Resort and Paragon. It'll be enough for them to just sweep in, at least win a single map of their own, and SN will be left out in the mud. They'll not be able to qualify. So a lot riding on this. They have to win a map at the very least. 2 maps will surely mean a lot for them, and it'll greatly help the entire roster. But speaking of the rosters, let's show the rosters on screen and see which exact players comprise these 2 teams.
Yeah. Now, as we do take a look at this, and we can see the ratings coming up on the board right now, we can see Makers Academy overall Very, very comfortable. Very good ratings coming up on the board. Wes does have a 0.8 rating, but that's as low as it gets. You're seeing 1.27, 1.58, and 1.50. Now, Kiliator is a name that you're looking at as one of the newer players coming in to replace Fra, but Karyudo, that's a player that's really been interesting to me. Apex got taken away from the actual roster, stepped back, had other things to look forward to, including mental health, and just general opportunities forward, and I'm very excited to wish him the best, most importantly. But Karyudo, they've come in, and Makers Academy, they haven't dropped the ball at all, have they, CCV?
They certainly haven't. And, you know, Yannick, on the side of SN Peak, what are your thoughts over there? Looking at the roster of Mono, Nixu, you know, Tonic, Inc., and you guys.
Yeah, a lot of varying ratings. You see people with quite a high rating, ANQ with a 1.4, Nixu with a 1.15, Nixu, by the way, with quite the KD. And then you have Mono with a 0.47, looking a bit shaky, but then again, I mean, he's a support player. He's playing Thermite and Smoke, so it's kind of expected, to be honest. And well, maybe he doesn't get the kills he needs, but he gets the impact frags. I just want to highlight something on Nixu. He's an absolute entry fragger on Ashe. He had a 1.95 rating in the game. I mean, CCV, you know how much an Ashe can do. That can just run in, get 3 kills. It leaves the enemy wide open for you to just finish it off. You know what he can do.
Exactly. I mean, an entry fragger is extremely crucial, much like all of the other players, essentially, regardless of which role they're playing. But yeah, the entry fragger always takes the brunt of the force of the opposing teams, you know, whether it's the front line of the defense, like you mentioned, you know, even if the Ashe is heading in solo into the bomb site itself and trying to get rid of anchors, it is that one person, that one entry fragger, you know, who has to do all the work, who has to do all the heavy lifting, only then, you know, will his team succeed in a general sense. But apart from that, you know, great rosters, a lot of firepower surely to be seen. McCready, Yannick, both of you have been highlighting some of the key players and some of the key fraggers and also the support players who help make the team as is. So let's move on forward, and let's move forward to the map bans, and let's see exactly which rosters are present, which maps will be played, because there are exciting maps we played over there, maps we have never seen before, maps that are so uncommon. You love to see Oregon and Clubhouse.
Alright, Clubhouse, I'm going to start you off there. It's a map that's relatively new to the comp scene. There's still a lot for teams to really work out. You know, they're getting into the nitty-gritty of little things that you can get done, little lines of sight, little angles, little ways to actually set up a site to best optimize your team for a round win. Whereas Oregon, it's been in there for a little bit longer, or it might as well feel like it's been in here for an eternity, the amount that we have actually seen it. These are two maps that both teams are going to be comfortable on, two maps that both teams realistically should know inside out. And when you think about what you said, CCV, if we bring up the standings very quickly, when you said that this is all on the line for SN Peak, it makes sense why we're going to these maps. These are maps that every team needs to be comfortable on, and maps that every team need to know.
It certainly is. And yeah, yet again, you know, this is a question, Yannick, I want to ask you. Now that we are seeing traditional maps being played, maps such as Clubhouse, maps such as Oregon, where exactly, if you think, you know, where exactly will the play style of either Makers Academy or SN Peak will change, or if it will change at all? Because I think, except from the firepower itself, some strategic decisions, some strategic changes will surely be made. So according to you, what will be the best strategy, both on the defense and on the attack, moving forward for these two teams?
Well, I think for both teams, we all know Oregon's quite a regimented map. It's the map where you cannot really go in and get frags, especially as a defender. You have to be really, really regimented, need some form of synergy. Same with Clubhouse. It's a map where you need synergy and a form of teamwork. You cannot just... well, to be fair, all stages that, but some of these maps just a little bit more. I honestly do see SN Peak. They need to watch out for that star player of Nix, that I've highlighted earlier on. They need to be able to withstand him and withstand his frag power, which is going to be, well, easier said than done, honestly. It's quite hard to, not get fragged by just a peeking Ashe.
Exactly, and yeah, the entry frags is also another key point I want to highlight, well, to all the viewers and also to the both of you. And I want to ask you, these are large maps. You know, I think on bomb sites such as on Oregon, you know, you have basement. So the same goes for Clubhouse, you know, you have basement, church and arsenal. On bomb sites where vertical rooms as well as a bit of horizontal rooms is prevalent, where exactly do you think the role of entry fraggers. How influential do you think the role of entry fraggers will be, first of all, and also do you think they'll be successful in getting those kills against the defenders? This goes for either, if Makers Academy are in the attack and they have the entry fraggers, or Yannick, like you mentioned, Nick's on the Ash for the side of SN Peak. Regardless of which person it is, regardless of which team it is, how important do you think those initial kills, that essence of map control is going to be now that we are seeing larger maps being played today?
I think mainly when you look at it, realistically looking at a general point of view, that's how I want to approach this. When you think about those bigger maps, think about the bottom floor of both maps. Well, you think about that size, that's something you touched upon. They're very big, there's a lot of wide open spaces. And what a lot of these maps allow is for multiple lines of sight, multiple avenues onto the maps. Say Clubhouse. You look at that, you see main stairs, you see dirt or kitchen hatch, you've got that blue position. But having those entry fraggers on the board, if they're able to find a kill or two and then look at opening another avenue of attack and just catching those defenders off guard, suddenly you're looking at a very attacker-sided position. They have the control of 2 lines of sight or more. So realistically, you think about a balloon. The defenders are that balloon, and as you gently push in and closer, that balloon is going to pop. That's exactly what the attackers are going to want to get control of. And with the opening kill, having these entry frags and possibly roamers, when you think of the defense, that's influential. If the roamers on the flip side can start causing that damage, can find some opening kills, and just shut down the attackers, take away those entry frags, or take away an ace or a thermite or a Hibana or whatever the other team is really relying upon to get the job done. If you can take that down, get a couple of kills, pull back to site alive, or at least waste time, then that's the round being decided within the first minute or half minute or so.
Certainly is, certainly is. Well, we've just had confirmation that the game is about to start in just a short while, in a minute or so. So I'm going to throw it to the both of you, McCready and Yannick. Take it away, discuss the final key elements that you think are going to occur in this matchup, and well, put on a show, because I'm sure these teams will give a great show themselves as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, now jumping over to us, we are going to take a look at that game like we were talking about, like CCV said. Now, like I said, Clubhouse and Oregon, they're 2 very default maps. They're 2 maps that every team should know. And when you think about that, you say these strats, the maps, the positions that the players are going to be playing in, it's not a case of who has the better strat, it's who executes as well. Every time I see these maps, that's what I say, because it's just so prevalent in how these maps play out. If you try and go for something to catch Makers Academy off guard, if you're SM Peak, more than likely you're going to struggle, because the setups at this point, they've been optimized for a long time to give you the best defense possible. On Oregon, though, there's a little bit more potential for a little bit more spice, and I've just come off casting Epiclan, and that's something I've seen a lot of teams trying to get something, maybe not really wildly out there, but just slight little changes that other teams just don't expect when they come in. And if SMP can bring that to the table, then they might stand a really good chance at least putting a couple more rounds on the board, and hey, that might be all they need.
Yeah, indeed, that might be all they need. As I'm not quite sure if you highlighted it, but the difference between spot 4 and 5 right now is only 2 round differential. So those rounds could really make the difference for them. But yeah, no, indeed, we're going to Clubhouse first, a map with, as you said, a lot of a really big map, a map that has a lot of strategy involved, and it is very. I actually really like your balloon. How you call that? Analogy. I really like that. I really like that. That was a really good explanation of it. Yeah, going to Clubhouse. Do you expect any standard bans? Anything you wanna see happening here right now?
Well, I want to see a Thatcher Maverick Cade ban. Those are the 3 that you really need to see to get the most out of your ban phase when you look at it. As a team that's not really trying to favor the ban phase one way or another, we are going to be bringing these predictions up just a little bit. And as you can see, the staff and community are both saying that Makers Academy, they're looking pretty good moving forward. The community has a little bit more hope in SMP, but getting into these bans, I expect to see a Thatcher Maverick off the board. It may see attackers Makers Academy, who are very comfortable in attacking Clubhouse, try and opt for something different. And, well, like I've said, this is a team I've followed for a while. They're able to do that. They're able to have these advantages. They get a Nomad to burn utility and a Capital to burn out that wall. Suddenly your Bandit can't play there. So the Maverick will be taken away from SMP to start us off.
Interesting ban. It, of course, makes it a lot harder to open up that CCTV wall, opening up the hatches. Clubhouse, a hatch-heavy map. if you are attacking the downstairs, that is armory and church, you definitely need some of those hatches open. Do you want to get some good map control and site control to flush out the defenders, reposition them as... I mean, opening up kitchen hatch towards armory, it can give some really interesting lines of sight and put the defenders off. But a second ban, a Montaigne, how do you read that?
Well, I think that's Makers Academy saying is they will take away the Cade off the board as well, saying, well, we actually want to have that Thatcher on the board. In doing so, well, we're top of the leaderboard. There's no one mine now, so we have to worry about the Jaeger ADSs. I'll have to be a lot more strategic. Those Thatcher EMPs, they can go, they can get the wall ready. And when you're opening up the wall, Makers Academy, they're going to want to ride this momentum. They're going to want to be pushing into breach very quickly, which suggests they'll take control of that master bedroom garage very early on. They'll have their player positioned in rafters, they'll have a player on the breach ready to move in, and that construction control will be there, so that execute can come through very quickly. Most importantly, when I look at that, though, I'm saying they're thinking about all the sites. And there's a lot of things they just want to get up. They just want to avoid. They want to put Karyudo in on that Ash and just really pick up some incredible shots.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this entry frag is going to work. I mean, if I did look at the stats, he's quite the amazing entry fragger. Am I wrong?
No, you are not. And Karyudo has come in as that substitute to replace the role of Apex, someone very talented who I've been very excited to follow. Yeah. But yeah, now coming in Karyudo, that fills in the gap really, really well. Now, Apex would typically be that Ash Jaeger main on the side of Makers Academy. But Karyudo coming over from, I think it was For the Win, I'm not exactly sure 100%, but he's got a lot of T4 experience as well. So bringing that AQUALIX player in, putting them on the Ash, putting them on the Jaeger, it just fits nicely around Makers Academy. They've given Kiliator some time to mesh in with the team before they started changing up the roster as well.
Alright. Well, we're going to see here now the attack is going to be droning out the defenders. Quite standard things. You see some rotation holes being made. The standard rotations, you mean, and the blue rotation there being quite an interesting play. The Melusi coming out as well from Nyx. Melusi being an operator that is very, very potent. It slows you down, takes away a lot of your hearing. It is quite a thorn inside of the attack, especially if Makers Academy is going to wait until the last couple of seconds to push in. It could be a real game changer, but only time will tell if that's what we're going to see, as the attackers are going to slowly make their way into the building, seemingly wanting to take CCTV as the first place, and as an entry point into the map.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all, because you say, right, we get this clear done very quickly, we have our players inside, this roam clear done in a minute, you're in a really good position. Karyudo does have that opening on the breach to get in, just in case someone is there, but SMP, they're playing a very, very close game. They're waiting, and right now you can see Enkvist waiting, holding, wanting to get a kill off Kiliator, but it's not going to happen. The Claymore will go down, and we'll just have to wait that little bit longer. This Valkyrie will allow for a lot of potential when it comes to the impact tricking. They know when they're going to be taking that kitchen control. They know when they're going to try and open that hatch, but right now West is going to go for the stock hatch. A lot of work being done very early on by Makers Academy, and with that Thatcher on the board, they don't need to worry about a lot of the utility that is being brought out.
The Ace here is seeming outside, droned his friends in, all of his teammates are now in with information. Map control has been gained within the 1 minute. The lines of sight, excuse me, just stumbling over my words there, have been opened up from kitchen onto the site. Something I've talked about before. This forces the defenders to relocate. They cannot sit close to the B-bomb anymore, as if you sit there and just standing still, you will get shot down by the attackers. With that being said, lines of sight works both ways, so if you do find a head of one of the attackers from Makers Academy, you should definitely take that shot. But as so far, we don't see anything yet. What is interesting, though, is the Ash that's sitting in blue as he pushes in, as Enkfist gets one at Katsola, and that's the opening kill coming in for SNP. But Karyudo wants to even it out. He's slowly peeking it in. He sees the barrel of the gun, sees the head, but can't hit the shots. Really interesting play here, as he does get tagged trying to escape, but no kill coming in for SNP just yet.
Yeah,
excuse me, for Makers Academy.
It's fine. Teutonic will be pushing forward and looking to get that kill, but realizing too much pressure, you can really mess things up. And with Kiliator's Thatcher EMP going down, you realize suddenly there's a two-pronged approach. Karyudo will find that Goyo, and Kiliator will be able to move forward on that site. And with all the defenders looking at that blue position, Kiliator's able to find up one more. Nyx, though, is just going to be holding, waiting, finding that first kill. Looks to Karyudo and gets it. 30 seconds ticking down. The refrag will come down from the hatch. 2 versus 2. This could go either way, but you've got the Jaeger involved to deal with. West will take damage as Rastin goes to the drop, and the plan is able to find a kill. It's all down to Steiner. Nah, and they just can't clean it up. Rastin, Makers Academy will pick up that first round. Very nice to execute onto site. Very nice control at the start to really just make sure you had all the time to work with that you wanted.
I think this might be one of the most textbook attacks onto Armory Church I've ever seen. Good map control, as you've highlighted just now. Really good map control. Good pushes, holding all the angles. The Hibana tried to plant in Armory, but got tagged down to 1 HP. That 1 HP changed a lot. It changed, I think, the outcome of the round. If the Hibana would have died there, it would have been a totally different situation. It would have meant that Rastin had to go in, take the diffuser, and plant. But the Hibana stayed alive, planted again, and the cover from Rastin was absolutely phenomenal getting 2. And that was round number 1 going towards Makers Academy.
Yeah, being able to just dominate those early gunfights. You saw Nyx being able to find a couple of frags afterwards as soon as Killiator went in for the push. But at that point, you've lost blue control. You've lost the potential of rotating your players through a safe line of sight. You have to go through that main corridor, which when the push did come through, Rastin was able to hold. You didn't have time to rotate around to blue because the plant was going down, because you just lost a player there that Rastin killed. So at that point, it's a process of elimination for Makers Academy, and I'm not really surprised to see SMP trying something else. They weren't able to win that round. It wasn't really a close round either. It was a 2 versus 2, but that's as close as it got. Rastin was able to just close it out very quickly. So they're saying, let's try something new. Let's take this CCTV cache, let's do a default setup, and let's just do the basics right. Because if we're going to win this map, that's how we're going to win it. The round will start, and we will see Makers Academy looking to get this breach open, and honestly, it's going to be done very quickly. The question is, how will SMP respond?
Oh, Steiner with the bandit he might try to do some bandit tricking, but I reckon they're gonna have some grenades from the other side or some ash charges to push him off of that bandit tricking position. We're gonna just see how this is all gonna unfold. The Thatcher, of course, making it very, very easy to open up the wall, or at least to disable the bandit charges. They do not destroy them anymore. Disabling being, well, some would say, a buff to the attacker side, but Steiner has to fall off as he loses a big chunk of HP, and their CCV wall open in just 40 seconds, and, well, SMP tried, or at least Steiner tried, but to no avail. The CC wall is open, and lines of sight into the deep belly of the site are now open as well.
Yes, now Steiner is playing down below, has that C4 ready to try and cause some hassle onto the attackers, but that breach being open already is going to cause a lot of pain in the fact that they can't rotate as easily. Katsola will find that first kill to start us off, and will take away the Malusi, and in doing so takes away that C4, the MP5, and Nyx, the top fragger for SMP. Now, it's not a huge stat to point out right now in the second round, but the only player with more than 1 kill at the moment now, Enk, has got 1 as well, but that's it, realistically. Makers Academy, they've got the opening advantage. They have complete control of construction. As soon as they want to go for a push, they'll drop that player onto that breach, start moving forward, start applying pressure, start getting the kills. This impact check of the construction isn't going to work, and Rastin's going to follow on and take away the Maestro as well. And right now, Makers Academy, they're sitting quite pretty.
1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. Indeed, pretty is the perfect word to describe it. 2 people on top red are going to get pressured by the flashbangs as Rastin finds 1. And Karyudo finds 1 to follow up as well. It's up to Steiner, the person that we had in the beginning. He gets a double with the C4, but he still needs to find 3, and the Ash is going to overpower him with just the pistol. He tried really valiantly, but it was to no avail. The C4, nice double kill there. But the Ash, and with that, by extension, Makers Academy are just too powerful for that 1 defender to hold off.
Oh yeah, you've got Karyudo right in there, playing ring around the rosy with that defender on the reinforcement on Steiner. Granted, that 2 kill came through, but you're only making up for the first minute and a half of the round when you saw a kill come out from Rastin and a kill come out from Katsola. You lost to Malusi and Maestro first. Those are 2 operators that are horrible to be taken away. Malusi going off the board, well, that's a lot of late run potential. You can't drop down that construction hatch that was opened up. You can't try and get to the main stairs. You need to immediately start bunkering your players down if you have that 1 player deficit. Then losing Tonic on the Maestro, well, you lose those Evilites. You lose the Alder. You lose a lot of potential for that plant denial. Suddenly, Steiner's left on their own with the rest of the players falling. A C4 can get 2 kills, but can it get 5? Very rarely, and not in a competitive game against a team like Makers Academy. We will be returning to the bottom floor, and some changes I'd like to see from SMP is maybe utilize that roam game. They found that opening kill last time onto Katsola. However, I'm not sure if they're going to get it again just by sitting safely on site. They're going to play it a lot safer if you're on the side of Makers Academy, realistically. So maybe a bit of roam game coming out from SMP. Make Makers Academy slow down. Don't give them the comfort to go for this push. And you can save a lot of time and potentially give yourself a lot more advantages approaching that late round.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think if I can put it in this way, in this wording, SMP is giving Makers Academy a lot of respect. They're kind of going, well, right, you guys are top of the leaderboard, and it's kind of playing in their mind maybe a little bit. They're kind of like, they're top of the leaderboard, you might not be able to win all the gunfights. I see a lot of players taking the gunfights very passively. They're not very decisively going in and getting the kill. Maybe they're losing a bit of self-confidence here just because they're top of the leaderboard. And I mean, of course they have something to show for it, but that doesn't make them unbeatable. Yes, they have 2 rounds on you, but it's still up to you. It's your defensive half, and you have the chance to set the pace. And exactly with the roam, you can do just that. As the stock hatch is going to be opened by the Ibana, you're going to lose more and more map control as Nixus tries to just regain that, but he gets thrown down, and then, very smart, he decides to fall back onto site.
Yeah, in doing so, you at least take away the drone, you at least take away something Makers Academy have not really struggled with so far, and that's that information. We're seeing players getting information before they lose their cameras. In doing so on the main stairs, you take away the drone, you pull back onto site. You know that they're down on site, but you don't know really what to do about it. You don't know where they move to, whether they're going to rotate around. And in the late round, when information's crucial, when you're thinking about that planned position or an execute, well, that's the worst time to not have a drone on the board, but time is ticking down. We are approaching that halfway mark. That dirt will open up, and Killiator will start us off with a frag on Teutonic. Getting that kill into blue, opening it up for the attackers to move forward. Like I said, this allows them the opportunity to shift their attention to whichever site they want. And having control of that blue, and Kitchen says they're going to go for another armory push. West will be able to find a kill onto N, can suddenly 3 versus 5. Killiator goes down, but Karyudo's quick to act upon it. Steiner will find that second kill though, and now we're actually in a 3 versus 3. Steiner looks to try and take that player down on the blue stairs, and will be able to, picking up a double, really doing a lot of the legwork for SMP right now. But still a minute on the clock, Makers Academy still a lot of map control, SMP feeling a little bit like sardines.
SMP being pressured back onto their default positions. Jogaiser here sitting in dirt, a place you really don't want to be sitting in. It's quite the place to sit in, and there you go, Rastin punishes him for sitting there, just peeks over the shield. He wasn't wary of his back, and that's gonna cost him his life. 3v2 now, and it's just Steiner and Nix. Nix being the person that we saw fragging out in the beginning, gonna be one of the kills, and Rastin gets on to Steiner. And Nix is all up to him as Wes is going to be planting. 20 seconds remaining, but that's going to change to 45 seconds just right now. Katsola finds the kill, and that's round number 3 in succession for Makers Academy.
Very, very strong in their attack right now, and they've at least got a 3-3 half secured, so they don't have to worry that much about putting more rounds on the board. At the moment, it's just taking this advantage. Going onto the defense, they should be okay, so they're just going to capitalize upon this as much as they can. We're not seeing that much changes to their strategy, how they're approaching these sites, how they're approaching their operator lineup, and that's because it's been working. They're going to be attacking the same site yet again, and with the Goyo, you can see, okay, well, that's exactly what they're going to do. Do we need to make any changes? Maybe on the blue side? Maybe when it comes to pushing down onto blue, maybe wait a little bit until the armory push comes through, because like we saw Steiner, complete attention directed towards those blue stairs. There wasn't really any pressure put on from there. That's where Steiner was able to use that MPX to get those kills. So maybe Makers Academy, just to tighten up the coordination, you're looking at a flawless round execute, as long as you get that map control, that roam clear done very, very early on. Looking at this site though for SMP, I'm really thinking maybe a roam would come into play. We saw Nix try it, but didn't really commit to it. Saw one camera and just said, no, I'm going to play back on site. This might be a case of SMP not wanting to potentially offer up that opening kill to Makers Academy, but when you need to waste more time, well, maybe you need to sacrifice a player for it. That's a risk and reward that only SMP are really going to be able to work out and justify in their head, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, that indeed, opening kill being also valuable most of the time. Most of the time, if you see a team that gets the opening kill, you can bet a lot of, you can bet some money on that. will get the round. But Nyx with a C4 primed and ready. There's somebody there coming into the garage door. He stopped going for the drone, but will Killiator know about the person playing in pit that has a C4 in her hand and is ready to throw it? And there it goes, and will connect. It does not. It takes half, 25 HP, but Engfist gets one, and he goes down himself, but that's a kill. And if he can get revived, you still have a player on the board, but nobody's really at the ready to revive him. But Steiner gets one to Killiator, and S&P looking very, very good right now, getting 2 opening kills. Engfist still down, but will he get revived? That's all that I am wanting to see.
Yeah, it's not going to happen realistically, SMP. And you've done a good job. You found the opening kill onto Karyudo, but you will be finished by Katsola. You found a kill. You have that one player advantage. SMP, you don't want to send another one up there. Jogeyser, though, will give it a go and will pull back to site, somehow staying alive after taking a substantial amount of damage. I'm not going to lie. But time's ticking down, and Makers Academy have to get, for the first time, have to try and make up for a misplay or a little bit of a misdrone. Karyudo not particularly ready for that gunfight to take. And now SMP, they're looking the strongest they have for a while, like you've been saying. They've had Steiner being able to find another kill onto Killiator, and in doing so has been able to just really stifle the aggression of Makers Academy. They have to take a little bit more time, they have to rethink how they're going to push, and most importantly, they still have to get these walls open.
Time is running low as the hatch does get opened, and this was about a minute or so later than they did last round. So, Makers Academy definitely feeling the time waste that S&P have been putting onto them. 1 minute remaining, and Jogeyser is still sitting in dirt holding the angle, but seems nobody's going to be coming that way. But the wall has been opened, so he does feel a bit of that pressure. C4 coming out connects, but not to a kill. 2 players lose half of their HP. There's somebody there just running around. Should have gotten the kill there but he didn't. Oh my god, Tonic is just going to go for it again. He's taking all the aggressive angles, but is it going to pay off for him, or is he going to just lose his life? He very smartly decides to fall off of it. 30 seconds remain now, and Makers Academy are going to start to make a push.
Yes, with time ticking out, the plan is going to start going down. Jogeyser will try and stop it with that smoke canister, but it's just not in a position to do so. Wes will stick that plan down before taking too much. Jogeyser going down. Rastin's able to find a kill down mid stairs. Nyx answers with one of their own, and suddenly, this is SMP looking in a 2v2 to try and get this round back. This is one of the closest rounds we've seen so far, especially from the start. But Nyx and Jogeyser, they're going to start moving on. You've got 3 players all on the diffuser. Katsola knows this and is able to pick off the Tonic. Suddenly, Katsola just needs one more, and you can play together. You can camp that diffuser. Jogeyser will start to take it out, but Katsola's there to make it stop. And Rastin's able to close things out, and Makers Academy, a very nicely covered round. Very good recovery from that shaky start, and very good use of that vertical play. As soon as the plant's down, you can say, Wes, you've done your job, you go for picks, you've died, yeah, that's fine, we expected you to. Anyway, the real meat on the meal of what we're going to see Makers Academy do was Rastin and Katsola just playing on the top floor.
Indeed, they were just there holding the defuse. S&P did not send anybody up there to deal with them or even try to cast them on the same floor. They were all peeking from a very disadvantaged position, and Rastin and Katsola made the best of that, just killing them off as they tried to go for the defuse, something very, very unwise. And while not unwise, it was definitely the best thing, the only thing you could do. Kind of a Hail Mary to try and stop the defuse from happening. But nothing could stop them from winning that round after the plant went down in such an advantageous position for Makers Academy. Once Wes had the plant down and the smoke of Jogeyser couldn't stop it, I think that's when the round was set in stone for the most part. And that's when we all kind of knew Makers Academy had the one in the bag. And now they're on 4-0 up in Clubhouse on their attacking side. S&P need to pull off some real magic here. Do they still want to win this map?
Yeah, they're doing very, very nicely so far. And they have the opportunity to just say, okay, now, yes, we had a 3-3 half guaranteed. But now we've got a 4-2 bare minimum guaranteed. That's a really good position to be in, because you look at it, S&P, there's only 2 more rounds that they really have an opportunity to get that momentum and really start clawing their way towards that draw, at least on Clubhouse. Whereas Makers Academy, they're only 3 rounds away from closing it all down. They could go for that flawless split. They are on the par to do it and go into CCTV. Sorry, I've got a wonderful Descos in my mind. But Enki is going to put some pressure on Rafters. CCTV, that's a site we're returning to for the 3rd time. In my opinion, I want to see a gym bedroom change come out. And actually, that is exactly what's happening. Forgive me, we're just seeing a very, very long extension coming through. Wait.
No, it is
right,
TV. It is TV. Yeah.
We're seeing an extension either way.
I'm confused. I wrote down Jim.
Okay.
What the hell? Okay.
Okay, alright, I'll explain it for you then. Tonic has got that frost, it's got that shield, those frost mats. Realistically, what they're doing right now is they've set up that position for Nyx to just shut down the construction hold. That's been so typical for Maker's Academy. But the breach has been opened up already. Maker's Academy can look at that gym bedroom and say, okay, they have A-player rafters, they've reinforced both those walls, Rustin, hold that window, we're going to push them out. And in doing so, we're going to see Maker's Academy in a very strong position so far. A flashbang and frag grenade will do some damage, but Karyudo will find the opening kill.
Engfist fast find one, finds two on a Wes and Katsola. And that's the man advantage shifted back into SNP. Well, not necessarily back, but it's shifted into SNP's favor as there's a 4v3 and the attackers are now feeling it. 3 attackers versus 4 defenders, and the time is going to be against them. They still have a lot of time to work with, but it's slowly ticking down, and the more time they waste holding angles, the less time there is at the end. Killiator just goes up and gets the kill into Steiner, and Karyudo does what he does best and gets the kill, and now it's down, the man advantage shifted back. Karyudo finds another one, and Ingvis, and it's all the frost of Teutonic to get it. And we're going to see how he is going to be handling this 1v3 situation. Frost SMG, not the best SMG in the game. It might have 0 recoil, but the damage it does is pretty substantial. But the rate of fire is not the best at all. Far from that, as he does get found by Killiator, and that's Maker's Academy with their 5th round in a row, looking very, very poised for that 6-0 split.
Yes, now Maker's Academy, what we saw from that round was very nicely of them responding to SMP, trying to adapt to deal with that push. You saw that little bit of an extension into that master bedroom where we saw Nyx, one of those players that you highlighted, just saying, okay, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to try and shut them down. They pushed it a couple of times last time, and that's where we really faltered at slowing them down, so that's where I'm going to play. In doing so, though, they sacrificed that rotation on that rafters. You're seeing that Jaeger Enk has got ADSs, but as soon as the utility comes through that burnt out, you've got nowhere to go. The breach is also open, so, well, Rastin's just going to hold that window angle. You cannot escape without taking a gunfight that is heavily stacked against you. And with the flashbangs, the frag grenades is coming through, well, it's just not a good time to be in. But you can not talk about that round without talking about the mechanical ability of Maker's Academy. Remember when I said Nyx was holding that master bedroom? Well, Karyudo just came in, took the gunfight, and won. Yeah. That's not a good position to be in. Suddenly you're seeing Tonic, all the players around him are being taken off the board by Maker's Academy, just pushing in very default positions, up red stairs, through the breach, through rafters, and suddenly you're watching a retake scenario be taking place when you're not really sure how we got to that position. And when you look at trying to make adaptation, well, it's very difficult. But we are going to be heading to that gym bedroom, Yannick.
Yeah, gym bedroom, just slightly we all thought we were on last round, I think, but nah, well, we're actually on at SMP, setting up the defense. The castle, very standard pick, I think, for this bomb site ever since this bomb site was made. Well, back when the game started, you always had the castle to block off that wall and block off just the easy denial of the bandit tricking on Jacuzzi wall. But there is a Thatcher on the board, so I wonder how effective that's going to be. I think the breach is going to be opened either way, and Wes is going to open the CCTV side of things in a very interesting way. I wonder how he's planning to do this, as that is just now a vault hole that he's making, but I will not doubt the side of Maker's Academy, as they have won 5 rounds in a row, and they probably know very well what they're doing. And there's one person in logistics that Kiryudo now knows of, but he decides to not take the gunfight. Very, very wise, as dropping that into his open arms would have been a certain death sentence.
Yeah, now I'm looking at this and I'm seeing Maker's Academy. They're very, very skilled at manipulating the site and how the defenders are playing to support themselves. But Jogeiser is actually going to get the opening pick for the 2nd round in a row in favor of SMP. It's not been going great for them so far, and that Jacuzzi wall will be open. Jogeiser doesn't really have any way to deal with it with that castle barricade in double stacked in gym, so they're just going to hold. That Jacuzzi wall is getting open. It's like that breach wall we see Wes at. There's no way you can really stop it with a Thatcher or Maverick on the board. You just need to be prepared to deal with it. And right now, we're seeing Wes just rotate around. Rastin able to even things up into a 4 versus 4. With Steiner being taken off the board. Jogeiser still has a lot of potential here, but a C4 going out will not be able to land the kills so far. Wes takes some damage from that CCTV window, and will just be able to do a little bit onto them as well. West just has to hold that position. Somebody just has to hold a long angle to make sure nobody jumps out. And if you can distract these players, that's huge. But West is going to be taken down by Eng. Eng will fall as well outside, but to Kiliator and Makers Academy, they're sacrificing players, but to get a very good position. Nick's being taken down, and Kiliator looking to shut down the roamers.
It's just 2 people left on the side of SMP. It's looking very, very dire for them, and the attackers still have an abundance of time to work with. Kiliator has control of logistics of this. Rastin is planting even, but Joe Geyser gets a kill. He's down to 1 HP, but he still has a gun, and that SMG-11 tears through people within milliseconds. So if there's a gun that can do it, he can do it. And Rastin takes him out, though, together with Kiryuta getting killed on Teutonic. And that's the perfect split for Makers Academy, getting 6 rounds in a row. They only need 1 more to win this map, and S&P need to pull off something miraculous. Do they want to get a draw out of this? I personally do not see this happening, but I've seen weirder stuff happen in Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes, now SMP need to play their own perfect side, and going on to attack is very difficult to do. That's why we're quite impressed by the fact that Makers Academy have done it so far. When you take a look at the stats, Rastin has yet to die. 11 kills, really just doing a lot of legwork on that support. You have to give a lot of credit. Constantly there in these 1vx scenarios, constantly providing just that lifeline that Makers Academy don't necessarily need, but can play a lot more confident in knowing that they have. Going to CCTV cache, they have put a lineup that, well, realistically, it just screams fragging potential to me. Kiliator switching to the Vigil, the Doc, the Jaeger, the Malusi, and then the Goyle Shields just to give you that little bit of time denial so you can play these aggressive positions and pull back. Makers Academy, what I want to see from them is not getting too aggressive, rein it in a little bit, find those opening advantages, but now you're on the defense, you don't need to be rushing into sites, you don't need to be rushing to take away these players and capitalize finding 2 or 3 kills after you find that first one. Realistically, SMP, if you get a kill, let them stew, that might have more impact, especially towards that late round in my opinion.
That indeed, this is a time where Makers Academy can show that they're a team of higher caliber. Once you come with an attacking like half, that's 6-0, you've been in there getting kills after kill after kill, round after round after round. You're kind of in that mindset of, I want to get more kills, and this is the time when they have to prove themselves, alright guys, we switched half now, where we are the defenders, we need to play this more passively. Our job is not to get the kills, it's to waste time, and ultimately let them fall into our hands, because they have to push us. So it's their time now to make that switch of mentality. So I'm interested to see if Makers Academy can do that, or they're just going to go for aggressive spawn peaks, and that hasn't happened. So everything is proving me that, well, everything seems to be that they have made that mindset switch, as they are now going to be very nicely defending it. And the attackers are going to be pushing in from Gym Bedroom. Steiner droning himself in, as Nux is going to come down as well. For Zofia, he's the entry fragger of the team, so if anybody's going to be able to get kills, I think it's going to be him.
The biggest thing standing out to me as Enk will take some damage and fall as that first kill to the Rafters player of Kitsola is that there isn't a Thatcher on the lineup of SMP, and what that really says to me as we do see these walls starting to get opened up is they might have seen the Makers Academy roster not bringing denial because they know that wall's going to get open, Karyudo will fall, but SMP, what it says to me, maybe they're not prepared to make adaptations. Maybe they have a lineup that they're not really comfortable messing around with, because if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Well, it works to a degree. Now, Kiliator is able to find a kill at the Steiner, looks for a second and cannot make it happen. Tonic is there to make life a little bit easier and get that revive. Jogaiser will find a kill onto West, and suddenly a 2 versus 4 on site, and we might actually see Rastin's first death of the game so far. But that relies upon a lot of things so far. They still have construction control, they need to drone into site, they have the player advantage. Do they go for a flank, a player on red, or a player on rafters, or do they just funnel in?
Well, as it looks like right now, it seems to just be everybody coming in from the west side of the building. All 4 players are there, 1 has gone outside onto the CCTV window, 2 are in logistics, and 1 is still in the bedroom. You see bullets flying out, pre-fires coming in through the soft walls as the window towards CCTV is going to be opened up. Katsola just doing a little dance around all the rotation holes. Seemingly, he wants to find that head. He wants to find a head to at least make this more favorable into his position, or his team's position. But the Goyo shield is going to change it, and he loses so much HP. Oh no, Katsola. Oh, that's a big chance. Gone now. If someone is peeking, he pushes up. Joe Geyser gets the kill, gets 1, but can't find the second. And Rastin is going to find his first death of the game, but not yet, as he is Doc. And he can revive himself, giving him another chance at life. But Nyx will shut that down very, very quickly. Rastin finds his first death. And with that, Makers Academy find their first round loss.
Yes, now I think the biggest thing for me there was the shift in SMP. There was a lot of potential for refrags. That's exactly what we saw. Now, Killiator wasn't able to land that killing blow onto the Habana, and so you see Tonic coming around, getting that pre-fire, getting that player down and dead. You get that revive. Suddenly, you've just got that player advantage. Yes, on quite low HP, but you've kept a player alive, and realistically, you need everything you can get when you're facing down the barrel of a clean sweep. Now, not to say that that's off the boards completely. Now we can see Makers Academy pick up this round and get that win, but the Thatcher's coming out. That's what I want to see. And on a site where CCTV cache, the Thatcher, if you have it, it just speeds everything along, and you don't have to worry about a lot of what the defenders have to bring to the table. That makes life a lot easier. You can get that wall open, you can start destroying this utility. For example, those mute jammers, those ADSs, you don't have to worry about them anymore for a brief amount of time. That's when you flood your utility. That's when you go for the execute. Now, on the flip side, we still have to talk about it. Katsola getting very, very aggressive, being able to find that diffuser, that kill on Tonic, only just realizing it the last second in the smoke. If you knew that they were in the smoke immediately, well, yeah, you would have got the kill earlier, but that's huge. Waiting as long as you did, that puts a lot of pressure onto SMP, regardless of their player advantage, because their diffuser's just gone down. Time is ticking down. They don't really have that much side control either, so they have to cross in and take the gunfights. They did that very well, and I want to see more of that moving forward.
I have an interesting question for you. I've been seeing lately that they put the mute jammers on a 90-degree angle of the wall. Is that a thing that you do in Siege because it gives a better performance, or is it just like aesthetically beautiful? Like, you see what I mean? Like, why do they do that?
I'm not exactly sure, but realistically, it's not going to have that much impact with the Thatcher that we were talking about. Going onto the board, Killiator knowing, well, this is all going to get done. I have to impact trick this wall, but Steiner will find that first kill. Rastin finding a second death of the game in that Raptors position. Suddenly, SMP, they have an avenue to attack from, but unlike on their defense, one of those walls is soft. That means there's a sightline for the defenders to peek through and to get that killer in. Killiator playing very aggressive on the red stairs, looking for the kill. Makers Academy, they haven't really shut down the aggression that they have. They haven't really said, okay, well, we need to slow it down because they took a round off us. They're still willing to take a lot of the gunfights.
SN Peak now with the early man advantage. Got the nice opening kill on the person holding Rafters. Rafters seems to be free real estate for now, as there's nobody here actively holding it anymore, and then Steiner will know that, and it is now, by extension, his team will know that, as it will all be droned out. 1 minute and 15 seconds have passed, and a little of map control has been found in the side of SN Peak. There's still a lot of them outside. Actually, most of them are outside. It's just a one person that is carrying the diffuser of Teutonic. That's now inside bottom garage, and the Ash of Engvist, who's in stock, and he's droning people out. It's gathering more information, but the time is ticking down. Killiator gets one, Nyx gets two on Killiator and Katsola, and now Makers Academy in quite the tough position as they're back in a 3v2. As Jogeyser is down, will he be revived? I cannot see just yet what position he's in, and Nyx wants to find more.
Yes, Nyx is in a great position to do so now. They've got that vertical control in that cache area. So right now you can see Enk holding that down, making sure the Karyudo doesn't really have much opportunity to work with now that that player is down. That means that Red and Rafters, those are the main positions we're really going to see Makers Academy looking to retake from. And Nyx is going to hold down one, finding a third kill. Will they be able to find a fourth? I don't know. But West is going to peek and find a kill, saying no, it's not over just yet. Now a 1 versus 2, there is a C4 on the board, and it will be going through. It will not be able to find a kill. The vault has come through at the right time, but West will pre-fire and do some damage onto Enk. Finds a diffuser, though. Now we're in a 1 versus 1, and now West can close it all down. The players outside of breach with 20 seconds left. SMP have to move forward. Enk, you have the R4C, but you have to have, I'm gonna say it, the sheer cojones to rush in. 12 seconds left, pushing through Rafters. The time just isn't there. Not when you know there's a player on the defense who will take advantage of any mistake you make. The repel will come in, and the pre-fire alerting West to the position, and doesn't pick up the diffuser, and suddenly, Makers Academy take Clubhouse 2-7. 1-7, sorry.
1-7, yeah. Wow, what
I
a round.
got caught away. I'm thinking of Rastin's KD. Holy moly.
SN Peak unlucky at the end there. I think Fist, he had to make a play, and he knew pushing through the CCV breach would have been a very risky play to make at the end. And he decided to go all the way around onto Garage, but with the time, it was running down low. We were down to the 20-second mark, and frankly, there wasn't enough time, and Wes played it perfectly. He waited, didn't peek, waited for the gun, waited for the person to either start defusing and being stuck in that animation, or just simply running out of time. So Wes played that perfectly. Props to him. Well played on the 1v3 clutch.
Yeah, realistically, what we saw from Wes there was just very, very good micro thought and micro risk analysis. Realistically, knowing there's a player on the window, not knowing about the second one. You go for the peek, you're able to find that first kill, and, well, let's just break into the nitty-gritty a bit more, because CCV, he's incredible at the analysis, so we're going to bring in the Desco. So welcome back, CCV, and welcome back to what has been an incredible first map so far.
It certainly has. You know, Makers Academy once
And you
again
seem to be muted
already...
in Discord, I'm afraid.
You forget one of the times you forget remix, the other you forget Discord.
Yeah.
You know what? Regardless, this time Makers Academy, they didn't forget to show their dominance. They of course did, and like I was saying, Makers Academy yet again right out of the gate just absolutely decimating their opponents. Another 7-1 victory. Possibly the 4th or 5th they've had this season, not to mention the countless 7-0s they've had as well. So yet again, a great showing coming from their side. And I absolutely love the way they played. You know, one thing that I have to highlight is not just the individual plays. You know, both of us, the both of you were really digging deep about Raston's behavior, about how he was, you know, playing excellently, and he certainly was. I mean, 12-2, that's no small feat. You know, regardless of what the players of SNP tried, they just couldn't get their hands on Raston, and he was, you know, too slick to get out there. So, but apart from that, the thing that I personally highlight was overall how Makers Academy just played their aggressive nature, regardless of the situation you put them in, regardless of the manpower they have on board, whatever it may be, Makers Academy are aggressive. You know, you look at a few of the statistics. I mean, to set the stage, to give context, you know, all three of us, we were talking about in the pre-show about the aspect of the initial kills, and how in a map such as Clubhouse, and you know the other one that we'll be seeing shortly soon, Oregon, how initial kills are quite important as a defender and as an attacker. But in this case, initial kills, they were all really the same. You know, you had 50-50 opening kill share. 50% of the opening kills went in favor of SNP and 50% in Makers Academy. It is what happened after that initial kill. It is what happened after that map control that really put Makers Academy a level above their opponent, shall I say. Because, you know, their map control, it was great to see. On average, you know, we saw 6 attacking rounds coming from Makers Academy, and on average, within the 1 minute and 40-second mark, 40-second mark, that's more than half the round on board, they had entire map control. They could start executing. On Church and Arsenal, 3 times we saw Sledge just pummeling down, getting those vertical lines of sight established, opening the hatches and all that. And even after that, the executes were coming in quite early as well. You know, the 35-second mark, which is on the contrary to how traditional siege executes go. So that's also one of the major things that I wanted to highlight. But, you know, apart from that, there's like I said, one of the things that all of us want to talk about. We'll be taking a short break. We'll be coming back. We'll be talking about Clubhouse further, and we'll also be seeing Oregon. So till then, all the viewers, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Oh, no, God. It always happens. Yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Elite Championship Series 7th play day of the Contenders Division. You're currently watching Makers Academy up against SN Peak. I'm your host CCV, along with McCready, Yannick, and Jerry and Grissom working behind the scenes. And oh boy, what a game we've seen so far. Wouldn't the both of you agree?
Oh, definitely. We're looking at it, we're seeing Makers Academy very strong out the gates, but SMP towards the end starting to bring it back, much closer rounds.
Certainly. And yeah, we are about to head into our second map of Oregon. Just before that, McCready, I want to ask this question directed towards you. You know, you play in a team yourself, so I want to ask you this question. SN Peak right now, we mentioned this in the pre-show, they are currently on spot number 5. After playing the first map, they haven't gained a single point. So this is do or die for them. If they lose this map as well, they're out of the league. They won't play the championship playoffs at all. So a team like that, in such a desperate situation, and this is where you come, you know, since you play in a team, where exactly do you think psychologically the mindset of the players of SN Peak stands right now?
Well, if they want to have a chance, they're going to be using the motivation from those last couple of rounds of Clubhouse to push them forward. Either that, or they're going to say, okay, it's the start of the series. We're just going to go in, fresh-faced, fresh strats, fresh games. So, realistically, I'm looking at this CCV. If they leave any of that negative energy from Club, they're going to flounder. They're going to struggle. But if they can purge it and say, okay, we picked up a couple of rounds, it came close, but we did throw it on that 1v3, we're just going to start again from scratch. That's where they're going to get it.
Certainly so, and you know, we've had confirmation that the game is about to start, so I'll leave it to the both of you to, you know, carry on. Oregon, it's going to be a bit painful, but you know, at the same time, looking at the players and looking at how they've played so far, the explosive nature of Makers Academy and SN Peak, I'm very excited. All on the line for SN Peak. Makers Academy, well, they've already qualified for the championship playoffs. Take care, bye-bye guys, and we'll meet after the game.
Yeah, bye-bye. Now, Yannick, Oregon.
Yeah.
Let's see what your thoughts are on this, because obviously we've got the predictions up on board, but what I want to know is what you think when we look at a map like Oregon, because obviously this is our first time gassing together.
I just want to talk about the staff predictions. That's an insane number. But yeah, about Oregon. Ooh, big map. A lot of roaming that can be done here. Very, very, very good roaming. A Maru ban. That is throwing me off. Okay.
Okay,
Academy.
I think that's just Makers Academy making a statement that they're very comfortable at the moment. They are looking at this game as more of a formality than anything else. And they're looking to just really be gatekeepers. Taking away the Amaru, they're on the attack. They don't want to shoot themselves in the foot too much. Now, we saw they didn't do that on Clubhouse as well. So they're probably saying, let's give ourselves a heavy advantage. Let's rely on the mechanical ability and realistically, the cohesion that we have. And let's keep on driving that forward. We don't have to worry about getting these walls open. We have a Hibana, we have a Thatcher. Boom. That blue on the bottom floor is open. And with a Wamai ban as well, that just makes life a lot more easier, like we saw on Clubhouse. They don't have to worry about K-Claws or the utility being taken away that quickly. The Amaru ban, it's a ban, but it isn't in the fact it doesn't really have that much impact to a competitive game.
I agree, and with the lack of a Thatcher ban and with the ban of a Kate and a Wamai, I think this map has shifted into a very attacker-sided map, something that Makers Academy have probably thought about when they banned the Wamai, and probably made a very, very conscious decision banning the Wamai. So that's something that can work, they use into their favor. But first site will be Kids Dorms, and up top in Oregon, a site that is, to most people, the default site. So we're going to see how SNP are going to have to defend that. Excuse me. Only time will tell. How do you see the perfect, the Kids Dorms defense? How do you see that?
Well, realistically, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the attack, because with that Wamai ban on the board, you don't have that player Attic to just dump that utility and slow it down. In doing so, I talked about this a little bit in the last game, the Jaeger, you have to be a lot more strategic with your ADSs, you have to work out which side you're going to stack, and 9 times out of 10 on most maps this wouldn't be an issue. But on a map like Oregon, where that 2-pronged attack is typically the way to go, and 3 avenues realistically, you have Master, you have Attic, you have that big window. Realistically, the name of the game for Makers Academy is find out where these ADSs are, and decide whether they're going to clear it, or just avoid it. Say it's an Attic, they've got 2 or 3 ADSs there, it looks like they've just got 1. then they can say, maybe let's go Attic instead of Games, because we burn that utility very quickly. If they've spread it very, very thinly, well, that just makes life a lot easier. They dump utility and things open up. But Enk in Armory is going to have to be dealing with the very early aggression, and will find the first kill to start things off to Katsola.
Oh my, Engfist with the aggression right there. Kiryudo does level it out back with a kill into the Legion. That's a lot of utility gone. Legion, of course. His Legion mines, excuse me. They spawn in after a certain amount of time. Every certain amount of seconds, he gets a new Legion mine. And that's a lot of them that he's not going to be able to throw down. And a lot of utility that's lost. Steiner's going to feel that, and more importantly, S and Peak are going to feel that. A lot of time delay, a lot of time waste is going to be wasted with the kill onto the Legion there.
Yes, and it takes away the impact nade, so when you see Enk going down below, that's trying to stop somebody from getting that wall open, but Killiad is going to shut things down. The utility is not going to be on that wall because it hasn't been brought at all. But then you could still impact Trick with the Legion being dead. Well, that's not going to happen. And with Enk being taken down, makes Academy realize, well, this is a really good opportunity now. Let's get this closet wall open. We're low on HP, but we have that two-player advantage. Tonic, though, that's going to be the biggest nail in the coffin for SMP at the moment. If Tonic falls, that's it. The rest of the site is going to collapse. But right now, holding that Attic, you can swing onto the breach. You can get that line of sight to shut down this plan. But right now, it's not going to mean anything. Makers Academy will start their advance. They will start getting the plant down. And they have more than enough players alive to stop it from taking place. Whereas the Karyuda will each find one. And Tonic will fall to Killiator on that rappel. A very nicely spread out round coming out from Makers Academy. And one where, even though they didn't find that opening pick, like CCV mentioned in the pre-show about Clubhouse, well, they didn't get the opening pick, but they did get the round.
They came back from the early aggression that was came out from Engfist, trying to peeking the armory window, being successful there. He went downstairs into classroom, tried to peek the Nomad of, I think that was Killiator, on the rappel in Games, outside of Games window. He failed that one. He honestly whiffed all of his shots, and if he would have gotten that, I think the round would have shifted, would have swayed a lot into SNP's favor. If it was Eggfist, I would probably go for that again, or maybe not. Going for that again, maybe Makers Academy are not going to expect it, and are going to have more guns pointing towards the windows. But for the first round, Eggfist getting almost 2 to his name. It was a good try. I'm sad to see that didn't work out for him.
I'm simply going to say, in that position of Armory, you're overextending quite a bit. You can only have one player in there at max, really, because of the opportunity that Makers Academy have, if you lose that Armory, to just get players going around and acting upon this player advantage. Realistically, like you said, got a huge kill off the board, taking away Cat Solar, and, well, because of that, then that's the first kill. That's sticking out in Makers Academy's mind. They're going to be preparing for it, and playing it safe. That's the name of the game for me. They've got that trophy hold. They're going to have the utility stacked here, because that's where they saw Makers Academy attack. On their defense, this is the place to really start picking it up, really start putting rounds on the board, and avoid that 7-1 scoreline you saw from Club. And will return to that armory like you wanted to see, and Katsola will be on there again, but the drone will be going in first. Katsola will put one frag grenade through. It won't find the kill. The flashbang will follow, and Enk is just about staying alive. Knows exactly where Katsola is. The frag grenade forcing him into a very tough position, but yet again, that frag will come in favor of SNP. But the biggest problem right now is, what do you do about Enk? And the Roma will look to try and support, and Enk will be able to find another kill thanks to that pinch being put through with Steiner.
SNP playing the aggressive game. This is like a game of ranked. Someone running out of big tower, out the door, shooting Rastin on rappel. And the Jaeger of Enkfist inside armory, giving all the pressure to the Thermite as well. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Enkfist gonna find another one. He's trying to find another one. Gonna peek slowly. CC Ash. No, he doesn't. Excuse me. The Nomad finds him. As Killiator getting one, but 3 kills in quick succession from Nyx and Jogeyser. And that's the round for SNP. What happened there? What? Did they all just line up?
Realistically, I don't think it was a case of lining up. I think it was SMP playing it a lot safer. They found those 2 kills on that armory, and they said, okay, well, we don't need to overextend now. We lost that player over on those stairs. We lost the Goyo, I do believe it was. but they still have that player advantage. They dig in, they hold their position, they make Makers Academy go into these lines of sight that they have prepared, because Makers Academy, they have to try and bring back something. They're running to keep toe-to-toe with SMP. In doing so, they overextended, they pushed into, and weren't necessarily having enough players to cover these danger positions, like Nyx behind that deplorable shield and trophy. So they had to run in, they had to go into the line of sight, and were just cleaned up very, very quickly. In doing so, SMP will win their first defensive round, and they will win their first round in a case that took right now. But realistically, I'm not exactly sure. Like, it took them a lot less time. Now, I'm just reading that actually Makers Academy were meant to be on defense, but they're not really worried about it. They're going on the attack, so we're just going to play on. There isn't going to be a rehosted. We're not going to have to waste a million times just to fix it, but that's all okay. Makers Academy will be looking to attack the bottom floor on an even scoreline. I think that's the biggest thing for SMP moving forward, is the mentality of, we haven't lost 6 rounds in a row. We've actually got one in the board.
Yeah, indeed. Last map on Clubhouse was been a really mental hurdle indeed, to just know, oh damn, we lost 6 rounds in a row and I'm going to win 6. It's almost impossible. No team, or almost no teams have done that in the past. It's a mental hurdle. But yeah, indeed, getting 1 back, it's like, guys, they're not better than us. We can win rounds. It's all even. We're in even scoring. So indeed, I do think this is going to be a mental boost for SMP. They're going to be feeling really, really good about themselves, right? Oh, not really good, but they're going to be feeling their chances of winning this game. Oh my god, Engfist with the swing gets a kill on Gatsola, but gets immediately traded out by Achilliator. But that's the opening kill falling for SMP, with Engfist feeling his gun and feeling the fragging potential. He is getting all the opening kills.
Well, I think it's quite safe to say that you can very much tell that this is SMP's map pick in the way that they've started to play this very early round aggressively. Now, Makers Academy, this is a map they've really been strong on with their previous roster of Apex and Fra, because, well, in the, say, 2 seasons ago, they lost out in the grand finals on this map, and they came out determined the next season to really step it up. I don't think a single team were able to beat them out on Oregon, and while if a team was able to, then that meant that they were just incredible. SMP starting off very strong, getting that opening kill. And in doing so, they get reef track immediately, but suddenly Makers Academy, they're on the back foot. Something that will just further be solidified by rest and be taken off the board. Now you only have 1 hard breach. You have that hatch open, yes, but you still need to take these power positions. Jogaiser, is still on the elbow. There's a player still by that E-box and pillars. You have half the round left. You really need to make something happen, and, well, that Ash is looking to do it.
Karyuda with a beautiful kill under the peeking smoke that was Jogaiser. Those are some toxic babes. They're going to be lost onto the dead body of that smoke in blue. It's going to be something that might come back to haunt SMP later on into the round, but only time will tell that. 1 minute remaining, and it's a 3v3 situation. Time is running down, but Makers Academy still have an abundance of time to work with. 1 minute in Siege terms is a world of time, especially with the map control they have.
Yeah, you can see the drop is coming out from Achilliator, and now that things have been evened out, like you said, time, it's only going to favor the defenders, but Makers Academy, they're very comfortable with playing the time. They're clearing a lot of this utility on the elbow, they're making sure they push forward, but Steiner is there holding the angle, isn't able to land the kill, but will do essential damage. For the last couple of seconds, the diffuser being there as well is absolutely huge. Achilliator and Karyuda, though, will find a kill for themselves, and Tonic is left with that evil eye, having to hold the angles and stop this plant. But it's going down in the default position. There is that player on elbow, which they know about, and West is able to find a kill from that elbow, giving Makers Academy another round to work with, and just showing that realistically, losing that opening couple of players, that's not a big issue for them. They're able to bring it back. But SMP, this is a different type of team that we're seeing right now. I'm very excited to see how they look forward to play this game.
It's really interesting seeing the opening picks coming from Engfist. He's playing that aggressive game really, really nice. He's playing it to the T. He's getting the opening kill, maybe gets refragged, but it's the rest of his team that are just lacking behind. And I think that's not necessarily their fault. It's not the fault of their gun skills, not the fault of their organization. I think it's just Makers Academy winning every single gunfight that they are put into, except for the opening kill of Engfist, excuse me. Makers Academy are winning a lot of their gunfights, and I think that's winning them the rounds.
I think that's a very nice place to look at it. And SMP, they're a lot more comfortable taking these gunfights. But the issue is, at the moment that we're looking at right now, is that Makers Academy, they're winning a round before they lose it. Now, it does not take a mathematician to really work out where this is going. Now, granted, I'm not great at maths, but I can still work it out. At this rate, Makers Academy, they're going to have at least that 1 round lead when it comes to the split. They're going to be able to have that 3-3 split bare minimum on their attack. Heading into the defense, that's not going to be a great position for SMP, especially given how Makers Academy, for anyone who has done half a little bit of research, Makers Academy, they're very comfortable on this map. They're very comfortable. The strats they have, they know works, and very little adjustment was realistically needed going into the death of the 22nd meta. But SMP, they're looking to give these early gunfights and just force Makers Academy to deal very early on with their positioning. And right now, that's what we're going to see from Enk, looking to get yet another opening frag.
Playing very, very aggressively into big tower. T3 to be exact. He's going to be holding off, or try to hold off the attackers that are trying to get into big tower. Karyudo is just going in, and he's not going to get punished for that, as Engfist misses his shots. But he does get one to Vaz. Oh my god, what a shot. Engfist is going to get pressured from one of the windows up in T3, and that's the person on Rappel, and he gets the kill as well. He gets the 3rd! Oh my god, Engfist doing work. Steiner finds one of his own. And now it's all down to Killiator, the Nomad. Diffuser is outside on highway. And he is stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has a lot of time. A lot of time to work with, indeed. He has the gun of Nomad. 21 bullets in the magazine. Enough to kill 1, possibly 2, but not much more than that. So we're going to see how he's going to work with. He has 2 minutes, as I've said before. He's going to try and retrieve the Diffuser, but the Jaeger of Engfist is still playing up top in T3. The cam has been held, and the C4 gets shot out in the air. Nice shot there from Killiator, but the smoke at close range. The SMG-11 is going to reign supreme as he tears through the Nomad, and that's S&P winning a round in very, very decisive fashion.
Yes, and that's a huge statement of intent, realistically, for SMP. They want that playoff spot. They know that if they lose this, yeah, they'll stay in the league, but they won't qualify for playoffs. Whereas Makers Academy, they're already going to be there. So if they win this map, they say, okay, yeah, we took Makers Academy to one of their strongest maps, and we beat them. And they're top contenders of the league. So if we could take them, going into playoffs, we can take anybody that we want, realistically. Looking at it, though, still 2-2, still could go either way, and that a lot of that round, the legwork was done by them. What we need to see is a lot more of a unified effort. We need to see a lot of SMP really starting to step up and being able to find these kills and refrags in the rounds that they're not winning. Because the rounds they win, yeah, they're playing really well and they're making the right decisions. But when they're not winning, things just don't really seem to go their way. We're seeing Makers Academy just having that little bit more coordination, that little bit more timing down to a T when it comes to these peaks and comes to these double swings. So that's the adaptation I want to see from SMP, or just a little tweak. Looking at the attack of Nick's Kids Dorms yet again, we've seen 1 round won and 1 round lost, so a 50% success rate for both teams. What I want to see from Makers Academy is not contesting this armory. And SMP, I want you to kind of say, okay, I don't want to play here anymore. I've already got 2 rounds, I've got 3 kills in 2 rounds off of this position. I don't want to be here. But Geyser will be able to make these rotations and make it a very strong power position for the Jaeger playing in armory. Which just begs the question, how are Makers Academy going to deal with it for the 3rd time in a row?
Well, Gatsola is going up for the rappel yet again. A very similar story to the first 2 rounds that we played on Oregon. Are we going to see him succumb to the gun of Jaeger yet again? Only time will tell. Ratson, the Thermite playing on highway, seeming he doesn't seem to be able to know what he wants to do just yet. He's going to go towards Big Tower, as Engfist is still holding Armory window, as he hears the person rappel. Katsola making a lot of noise there, so Engfist, with no doubt in mind, knows that there's someone to rappel there. He could go for an aggressive jump out, but that would be very ill-advised. We're going to see how this is going to work out. Katsola going to drone, see if he can spot out Engfist. Engfist shoots the drone, and Katsola still does not take the gunfight.
What I'm seeing right now, I'm very happy with. I'm seeing Rastin positioning themselves on the roof and Katsola playing it very, very carefully. They know not to mess with this Jaeger, and doing a little damage, Engfist will get aggressive. But even if Katsola dies, they now have that line of sight to work with. Rastin can at least call whether they're pushing, and Engfist will look to do some damage, won't land that shot, but a flashbang is landing and the frag grenade will follow. Suddenly pulling back, it will be taken away by Rastin on that roof, like I said. And that's your armory player dealt with. That's Maker's Academy identifying a problem and moving forward. In doing so, Katsola now has a lot of presence, but will be taken down by a C4. 2 kills will answer from Maker's Academy, and suddenly Titanic and Jogeyser have to bring it back. They find 1, but they need to find 3 more. And that breach will be opened up. Rastin getting the wallbang will be able to take down Jogeyser. Now Tonic has to pull back into kids and has to play it safe. A minute on the clock, 3 players to work through. It's not a great position to be dealing with right now. And with this default plan starting to go down, you've had a look at the hold that they have, but West is not going to let you get another look at it. We'll be closing things down, and Maker's Academy pick up a 3rd round.
The first round where Maker's Academy got the opening kill, this time on the Jaeger of... someone the Jaeger that was holding Armory. He tried to hold it, he did some damage onto the Iana of Katsola, but not enough to kill him, and the Thermite from Highway killed him, and finally got that Jaeger out as the first kill. This is the first time Engfist has not gotten the opening kill, but died as the opening kill. I was kind of worried about the timer there. When that happened, the timer was on 1 minute 30, and they had almost no map control. Everybody was still outside, either on the master bedroom balcony or on the Armory rappel. But Maker's Academy proved me wrong, as they just walk in, open up the breach, get all the kills, and well, the round was won.
In my opinion, it wasn't really just an issue of map control and walking in, getting the kills, and the map being done. Realistically, what we saw was in the time that they were losing, they weren't resting. They were very proactive. They set up these crossfires. They looked at getting this information, so they knew how they'd be taking the gunfights, where they'd be taking the gunfights, and the hot joining was coming in. It felt very controlled and very purposeful on all the actions that Maker's Academy did. SMP on the flip side, it felt like as soon as they lost Eng, they weren't really sure what to do. They had a player in that trophy just getting taken away off the board. Now, going to kitchen meeting, the name of the game for Maker's Academy is either to make a very strong entrance towards that mini tower, or to take big tower, open the wall, and get a plant and force a wide swing. Either way this can go. The question is, which way are they going to opt for it? How will SMP respond to the 2 ways that this can go? And while we take a look at this defense, we have got on Maestro getting quite a bit of rotation, so that the team have a lot of fluidity in their defense. And the roamers, they have a lot of freedom of movement. Now, that's something integral to the roam game.
It really is. The roamers are going to consist of Steiner up top together with Jogeyser in trophy now, as he's going to see the feet of the person on master bedroom balcony, tags him. No, he does not tag him, but shoots through the barricade, but to no avail. Katsola is going to use his Iana clone to spot out the defenders, but he sees the one... Oh, he doesn't spot the one person in attic. That could prove detrimental to them, as the Iana clone does get shot by the the Melusi on white stairs.
Yes, now with that Iana drone being spotted out, SMP know exactly what's happening. You can see they've got a very top floor hold, and Katsola is looking to try and put some pressure on it. But like you said, as soon as we see these players starting to put Enk, they don't know that Enk is there. They've droned it out, and yes, Katsola's said it's clear, but it just isn't. Killiator, though, will be looking to get this castle barricade at the bottom of the stairs of White Window. And as soon as you get it, well, you'll have to deal with Jogeyser, who's waiting in the wings. Very quiet. The edge up will go and get shot. Out, and Killiator's just not ready for it. Jogeyser will find the kill. Nyx answering with one of their own. A 3 versus 5. Nyx finding another one. And that's going to be Killiator going down. Steiner gets taken away. Rastin able to find a second kill, keeping Maker's Academy in this. This is exactly what they needed. Nyx being down as well, being finished off by Rastin. Well, now Maker's Academy, they're in a great position at 2 versus 2, a minute 10 on the clock, and they still have that top floor control. The biggest problem, Enk is still in that attic, and Tonic with the Alda still on the bottom floor. Now is the time for droning, now is the time for that flank watch, and with a Nomad on the ward, you'd hope those air jabs will come in useful.
As you have highlighted, Enk sitting in the attic could be a big problem on the side of Maker's Academy if they do not drone him out or find him anywhere in this round. Well, Wes has gone downstairs, so for him it's not going to be that big of a worry, as he's now inside of dining. Enk is still up there. He's just chilling. He's just waiting, as Rastin and Ibanov West are now in dining, opening up the wall. Tonic surely must know this and call it out to Enk. Yes, Enk is moving. He's moving away from his position slowly but surely, coming down maybe onto the flank from White Stairs. You're going to see how this is all going to play out. 20 seconds remaining. Rastin has a diffuser in hand. Enk is up on the hatch. Oh, we're going to see if he can get a kill from this. He sees the person, and that's the diffuser and the thermite down. Throws under the C4, 10 seconds remaining. Was in a very, very tough spot right now. Maestro kind of spotting him out. Won't zap him though. Yes, it will. He's not going to win this one. He needs to pick up the diffuser and plant, but Enk gets the kill. And Wes falls to his demise. S&P win the round, and that's the split evenly on 3-3.
Yeah, that's a 3-3 split coming down, and I think we can safely say that that played out, most importantly because Enk was still alive, but there are a lot of other factors that really fed into how that round played out, and I think you've got to look at that Maestro being alive so long, feeding that information, those Melusi Banshee charges, being able to just give away as soon as they start moving through. That's the call for Enk to start swinging, that's the call for Enk to find the kill. Now, honestly, that's a really good stand coming out from SMP. Moving forward on the attack, if they can keep it going now that they have the Thatcher on the board, well, they have a lot of potential. They will have to attack the site that they've just tried to defend 3 times, and have only won once. But, realistically, Yannick, looking at this, the question is, do Makers Academy have the adaptation? Do their own strats differ enough so that SMP don't know what to do about it? As we take a look at the stats, you have to say Enk has definitely stepped up. But how many kills are they going to be finding on that Ash? Because realistically, going up against Makers Academy as an entry fragger, that's not a great position to be in. You can sometimes struggle.
Yeah, Makers Academy definitely know what they're doing. They're very good at just seeing the entry fragger, and when they do see it, they know a way to smother them. It's really... Makers Academy is a breed of their own in this league, I think. They're up top, undefeated still. Not necessarily that they're unbeatable, but they haven't been beaten yet. So, S&P are going to need to bring something special here. It is the last play day, the last time that a team can defeat Makers Academy in the group stage. So, well, let's see if S&P have it in store. You do see, as you said, Enkfist on the Ash. I'm interested to see if he's going to be able to find a few more kills now that he's on the attacking half.
Now, speaking of kills, Katsola's looking for one of his own because, well, doesn't have any. Probably feeling a little left out. Sure, guys, though, will be able to escape that default not being taken off the board. We'll actually land a lot of late round information when we see that master balcony because you can just about see it. Katsola will find that opening kill and will be able to shut down Nyx, and suddenly, well, that's the Sophia gone. You have taken away a lot of utility off the board that needs to be used by that Ash to clear out Maestro cameras. Little things in the ground, the Melusi Banshee charges, and you either need to use a Thatcher EMP or a Ash charge. You don't want to use an EMP, realistically, just because you need to save them for the walls. Now, though, Katsola able to find that kill, will go back on the roam, and SMP not really sure what they want to do to deal with it. That Alder is going to be in that drop-down position, and Enk is going to have to try and deal with that. 2 minutes ticking down onto the clock. SMP, they're getting some nice map control, but you can't help but feel maybe this is a bit too one-dimensional. They're going for the attic. They're not really going for anywhere else. They're not getting control in that big window or that master bedroom, and that means Makers Academy, with that player advantage, we'll have one more gun looking when this execute does come through, and Katsola can go on this flank and cause a lot of issues. Already found 1 kill, probably wants a lot more.
You're right indeed. If you all push through one alley, you're going to have 5 or maybe just a little bit less than that. We're going to have all the attacker guns put into that one direction. It's basically walking through one hallway, and the other side there's an LMG waiting to mow you down. Well, it's not the best situation to be in. Joe Geyser, though, he's going to be on the other side of the map. He's going to be in bedroom. Maybe they are going to go for a 2-step approach to this attack. Joe Geyser drones out the Jaeger and sees him. And is he going to be able to get the kill? He will not, as he does pre-fire towards Trophy, but the Jaeger is now already off of that position. No breach, though, so the closet wall won't be opened up just yet. But Katsola does find a kill on the flank, and that's Steiner dead. 5v3 situation, it's looking more and more like a Makers Academy round.
Yes, another impact will go out and do that damage to Tonic. The kill won't come out, but realistically what you're looking at right now in a 4 versus 3, 30 seconds left, is West able to find 1 kill. Tonic doesn't know, is able to find a kill onto West, but still a 3 versus 2. And these players, they don't have that refrag potential. They have to win every single gunfight, otherwise it's just going to get stymied, and Carriero is going to find 1. There will be a Thatcher EMP going off, but time's ticking down. 3 guns from Makers Academy, none of them will be found by Tonic. They will pick up the first round of their defensive half and will be moving to that basement to really start pushing forward this gap.
Yeah, a gap has been created, and one I think, as you said, Makers Academy are going to want to extend. Going down to Laundry Supply Room, this was a very, very decisive round. Getting the opening kill, it was the Malusia on the flank of Katsola getting another kill, actually getting 2 kills there. Play from the Malusi. It was it was a stunning round. I think Makers Academy definitely showed one of the ways you can hold top floor, and also showing why you shouldn't focus all of your forces onto one alleyway into that site.
Yeah, realistically, like we said, Karyudo, when they knew that all those players are coming through Attic, Karyudo's job was just saying, okay, watch your flank. Watch just in case they come from there. And that's that little bit of little game sense that Makers Academy have. They have that calm during the storm. They're saying, right, they're pushing over here, but there is the potential for this. We haven't seen them really make a pressure on Big Window, but maybe that we know about the drone. Or maybe we just want Karyudo in a position where he can react to anything that comes his way. Either way, Makers Academy, the positioning of their players was just a little bit better there. And SMP, they were being picked off, like we saw, pushing through. We saw West being able to find one kill with that Maestro camera. Oh, with that Elder, sorry. I just pulled back and went on the Maestro camera, feeding the information. Suddenly, it's a 1-and-1 when you look at the 2 positions of the attackers. And, well, no refrag potential. Makers Academy, they just got to win 1 gunfight, and suddenly they all focus on the second. It's unwinnable for SMP at that point. So moving down to the bottom floor, we are seeing a little bit of damage on West because that Goa shield got taken out. I'm not exactly sure why, but SMP, they're going for a very structured roam clear, and that's what I want to see, is they don't want to avoid, they want to avoid making any mistakes possible. And against a team like Makers Academy, well, you just have to.
Yeah, any mistake you make against Makers Academy, they're going to see, and they're going to, well, I think abuse. This Makers Academy is a team that can do that really, really well. They know how to spot other mistakes and then punish you for it. But the Ash has already gone down onto the tower stairs. He's already making quite some headways there. And he's going to see the person on tower. But that is the Hibana of Steiner getting some damage off from Zulu, as the Malusi is there taking off some damage, just being a thorn in the side of the attackers, making sure that hatch is not going to go open. He throws at the impact. Is that successful? It is not. The hatch is open, and that's E-Box hatch now fully under attacker control, as the Malusi is going to fall back. But there's another person in kitchen playing the site, but Nyx takes care of him, and that's Karyudo down. And now we're down to a 4v4. We're going to see how this is all going to play out. 1 minute, 45 seconds remaining. Joe guys are taking damage as well. A lot of damage has been dealt this round, and 2 kills to talk about.
Yes, now looking at that, Makers Academy, they're doing a really good job because SMP, they have that meeting hatch open. They have that meeting control, but they're still focusing on this room clear. Half the round being taken away, and they're only starting to look towards this execute onto site. If you're a confident attacking team, if you're a definitively better team, you're already clearing utility at this point. You're already looking at execute with a lot of time in your pocket. And Killiator is just holding that elbow still. Your diffuser's still down in blue and has to push through that smoke. You've done nothing to push out Killiator so far. And as you can take a look at the KD very quickly, well, I think you can safely say Killiator isn't one to miss his shots. Now, Rastin is also wanting to make me say that about him, so he'll be able to find a kill onto Jogaiza as well. The angles being held right now are just favoring Makers Academy. They have pillars, they have blue, they don't have tower stairs, but right now they don't need to because they have time on their side. That Banshee, Nyx hasn't taken it out yet. It will alert the attacker of the push coming through, and, well, Nyx doesn't want to deal with it because as soon as you pull out that utility, well, Rastin's going to peek because he knows you don't have your gun out, won't find the kill, 30 seconds down, and they need to push through very quickly. Rastin still got C4 in pocket, will look for the kill onto Nyx, but just can't land it yet. Play it a bit safer. You've got that player advantage. Don't give it away just yet. But Rastin, just hungry for the kill, will be picked off by Steiner. Tonic will be taken down as well in answer. And a 3 versus 1 as Tonic and Steiner are both down. Nyx pushing through. Looks to find 1 kill. Will get it, but not the final one. Katsola ending things out for this round.
What a round played here from Makers Academy. At the end there, they wasted about 45 seconds of time with that Zofia on the back stairs, the people in blue bunker. They wasted a lot of time there at the end. Well played on their side. The Mozzie playing at pillar did a fantastic job. The Zofia, as you said, he could go to destroy the utility, but then the Mozzie will know, of Killiator will know, well, you don't have a gun in your hand. That's an easy kill for me. He did go for the peak, but missed his shots. So the Zofia didn't eventually go down, but it still meant that even more, the Melusi charge, or the Melusi gadget wasn't even taken out with that impact grenade.
Realistically, when you see that, yes, Rastin wasn't hitting the shots when we saw him looking towards that north stairs, but he didn't need to. Because just putting the pressure on and just saying, I know that you're here, I am going to deal with you, and you are going to die if you try and peek me, that's forcing SMP to divert attention to another angle. That E-box is open, so they're having players look through. As soon as Rastin's gone, well, it doesn't matter. Makers Academy, they have the players to funnel through. That's the positioning. That's that late round just mentality coming in, where they're saying, okay, we have an advantage. This is how we want to play off it. And thus, we will be seeing a kitchen dining. You've already seen kitchen meeting, but now we're going to the flip side.
You talked about how Engfist was going to be the opening kill, sorry, actually the entry fragger for the side of SMP. He had 8 kills when we switched halves. He's only gotten 1 in the last 2 rounds. You were talking about how Makers Academy knew how to smother an opening fragger and an entry fragger. Jeez, I keep missing those two. Help. But you know how they were able to smother that, and that's exactly what they did. He only got 1. He isn't as nearly as effective as he was on the defense side as trying to get opening kill, but who is going to get the opening kill is Teutonic, as Karyudo is going to do a quite weird peek out of the main door, a peek that is ill-advised, and just for that reason.
Yeah, it's been taken away by the Thatcher, with no potential to get any advantage out of it. You're losing a player for nothing in return. That's not a great position to be in, but if you're SMP, well, this is the opportunity to take them off match point, and keep that win at least in on the cards. Katsola is going to be holding this attic, and now quite interesting to me, it doesn't look like that was reinforcement, doesn't matter. Katsola runs out of ammo. Oh no, what is happening, Makers Academy? Luckily, Rastin and Killiator are there to bring back 2 kills onto the board, but you've just lost 2 players in horrible ways, realistically. Karyudo and Katsola, a lot of the fragging work in that last map, well, they're just not there anymore. They're just not finding these kills, and you're leaving it to the rest of your team to really step up.
Engfist and Nyx also down 2 of the, yet again, Nyx being the fragger on this team. He's down Zofia and the Ash, 2 of your entry fraggers also off the board. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. A lot of time to work with, but not a lot of map control to work with right now. All 3 are still outside a big window to be exact, as Joe Geyser is still in the small tower, as Rastin's going to go on to Steiner, and that's 1 person less for Makers Academy to deal with at the end. Teutonic, he wants to get the refrag, but very, very wisely, as Makers Academy are not peeking that. Joe Geyser is going to get smoked out, though, so the door is not going to be an option for him to push through without losing HP for the next 10 seconds. Teutonic wants to make a push. They need to do something. With a man disadvantage, they either need to get a kill or make a collapse on the site. The latter is a very unlikely option to do. Killiator gets droned out, shoots a drone, holds the door. Nobody's pushing there just yet, though.
Yes, now, like you said, something needs to happen, and SMP, they felt very uncomfortable so far. Joe Geyser is able to find the refrag onto Tonic as he goes down, but West is just there, and suddenly Makers Academy, they've just won the tertiary bomb site, and are now on match point. They are going to be looking to close things out with a clean 2-0, and a much closer game than what we saw in Clubhouse, but right now, SMP, they're not out of it. We're seeing opportunities, we're seeing possibilities, and a lot of potential for them to come through, finding opening kills, finding 2 opening kills, then they're taking some map control. But as soon as something wasn't going their way, they really just stalled out. They didn't really know what to do. They didn't want to jump in that big window for fear of Rastin with the SMG-11. Rastin just drops down the hatch and says, okay, my job's done. I've got the smoke canisters. I need to be alive in the late round. That's what I'm going to do. Realistically, SMP, they're saying, well, the diffuser's down, we don't want to jump in, we don't want the site control. We don't want that top floor control at this point. So, we're just going to pull back and play it safe. On the attack, though, that's not the right mentality to have. You need to be unafraid to take these gunfights and confident that you're going to win them out, which is what we saw at the end, where they went in and tried to get a couple of kills. Tonic fell, Joe Geyser was there to finish it off. But the player advantages, it just didn't help. You had 3 Makers Academy players just swarming on you. And I know I say blood in the waters, the shark is circling, but that's definitely what it felt like.
Indeed. Oh, Killiator taking a heap of damage there. That's him down to less than what you'd get after you get a revived. But he's going to be feeling that for the rest of the round for sure. Killiator being on the Muzzy. Very, very fast, very, very fragging operator. Can we run around Rome? His utility has been put down. He can capture some drones, deny that information from the attacker side, but none of the drones seem to be captured just yet. The attackers are now going to make their way onto the building. Nyx rappelling up on small tower. We're going to see how they're going to attack this. Makers Academy are on match point right now. They secured 1 point, denied SN Peak 3 points, and this is their time to shine. Do they want to deny SN Peak the last point as well?
Yes, they will be able to lose a player on the very first start, though. Carioto being taken out by that attic door window. And, well, I think that position just sums it up completely. Nothing really happened either way. And you just see Carioto taken down. Killiator on quite low HP as well is dropping down for that Roman, playing it safe. Makers Academy can close it down. But right now, it doesn't look very nice for them because they're in a position where they can start hemorrhaging these rounds, and SM Peak might have that little bit more motivation and momentum behind them. Now, Katsola is also watching the Twitch chat and interacting, so I mean, realistically, you're having a player who's half focusing on chat and half focusing on the game, but right now, in this position, is 100% focusing on this angle, making sure anybody who comes around just gets the full extent of that MP5. And right now, swinging the trophy, will be looking to keep that up. Looking for that first kill. We'll be able to tag up Nyx, but doesn't land the killing blow. But that's not the bit you need right now. That's the damage done. Jogeyser, though, will be able to find that killing blow, taking away the Malusi. And now at SMP, they're getting quite a bit of momentum behind them, but this is where they stood up before.
3v5 now. Makers Academy in quite the tough position. Need to hold off 5 attacker weapons. 1 minute 20 remaining. Gonna see how they're gonna hold that for these last few minutes. Well, Inkfist on the rappel got another kill to his name. And Jogeyser got 2 this round. He gets another one on Rastin. What a nasty shot. Jogeyser on 3. Can he get the ace? It will be pretty interesting. Pretty nice to see him get the ace. Wes playing in kids' dorms, holding the angle towards Attic. Cannot really be effective as he is being pressured from the person in Attic, and one on the window. Killiator gets down from up top and gets finished by Jogeyser. Jogeyser going for the ace. He does not get the ace as Nyx steals it right in front of his eyes. And SN Peak win an attack round, minimizing their deficit, bringing it 1 back, and now round 11, you're going to see if they can pull it all the way back to a draw.
Yes, SN Peak, they are right now on the chopping block, but they're able to bring it back by 1 round. The question is, how many are Makers Academy willing to give? Now they are returning to Kid Storms, and I feel like if we lose this round, well, the mentality isn't really going to be there for them, as they no doubt will be looking to drop down below. But Makers Academy, they've been giving away a lot of kills for free at the start. I want to see them just reining in just that little bit. If they're not going for these opening kills, if they're not playing towards that armory, then maybe they have a couple of players alive for that late round to hold those crossfires and support their support players towards the end. That might be the change that they need. That's the change I want to see, at least, Yannick, as we do look at what could quite possibly be the final round. But if SM Peak's recent performance is anything to go by, well, it might just not be.
No, if they win this round, I think they're going to have the mental mindset to win the next one as well. SN Peak, if they lose this round, it's over. We all know that. But if they win the next round, they're going to be in such a good spot, winning 2 rounds in a row, feeling really good about themselves, feeling that they can take away this map win from Makers Academy. We're going to just see how they're going to be doing this right now, as SN Peak seem to have a very similar lineup to the last round, but let's see if their execute is going to be similar to the last round as well. Makers Academy, a team that is known to be able to adapt, so if they are going to do the exact same, they're going to have a counter to it. Well, there's a player outside. The Malusi is running out though, but getting no kill, just going to get spotted. No damage done on both sides.
Yes, but what it does do by getting that player to run out is it's a very clear announcement to SMP that you're going to need to successfully roam clear. You do have that Malusi and Mozzie both over in Mini Tower, and well, Makers Academy, they're having those players over towards there. SMP is saying, well, let's just go clear out that big tower. Let's get this work done. Carriudo and Katsola are waiting on the roam, waiting in the wings, looking for this opening kill, but nothing is landing just yet. All SMP need to do is keep them distracted while they put in the graft on the other sides of the map. In doing so, they're taking away 2 players from a gunfight, 2 players who could get a run out. Right now, Makers Academy, though, they're playing it a lot safer. That's what I want to see. Wes will take some damage, but not really that much. A trade will come out, and Jogeyser, just getting that quad kill in the last round, is only going to get 1 this one. but that's a 4 versus 4. Not much has been gained for the death of Jogeyser, but a lot for Kiliator on the side of Makers Academy. That time, that player advantage, that F2 has been taken away, and almost your top fragger.
Ooh, Inkfist, let's get one to Katsola. Nice headshot there. Good peek in from him, actually holding the angle. Steiner does get found by Wes from the side of Makers Academy, all evening it all out to a 3v3. If you look at the death on the side of the attackers, though, that's their heart breacher gone. But most of Hibana's work has been done. The attic wall has been opened, and are we going to see SN Peak funnel in from attic yet again? We've got one playing underneath stage here. It's the Maestro of Wes. He is going to see the Iana clone, and they're going to look at each other and ponder what is going to happen. Teutonic.
The pre-fire will come out and the frag grenade will follow, but the question is, will it do much damage? Yes, it will. It will find a kill and SN Peak in a good position to push.
Interesting there. The Maestro didn't realize that Iana would have frag grenades on her in her inventory ready to throw out. But then again, a misplay there from Wes. He does fall to his demise. We can talk about that, but there's not that much time remaining. 40 seconds left, and Rastin gets one, finds the second. No, he doesn't! As Inkfist falls to the gun of Karyudo, and it's now a 1v2. One is down, Nyx is down, and Teutonic on the Iana, the person that got the nice nade kill in the beginning on Wes, is going to need to clutch this out for SN Peak. He is the only hope for SN Peak right now. He's going to start planting the diffuser, trying to bait, but Karyudo finishes off Nyx and finds one onto Teutonic, and that's the map into Makers Academy. A lot of pressure rested on Teutonic's shoulders, but he couldn't finish it off, and Karyudo shows that Makers Academy are victorious and are better than SN Peak.
Yes, Makers Academy keeping up a almost dominant run. Only really starting to struggle when it did come to those last couple of rounds on both maps, when it came to them getting maybe a little bit too comfortable. So I think maybe just tightening that mentality a little bit as you do approach this playoffs and have locked in your spot almost for a good few weeks at least. But you've locked in your spot 100%, and most importantly, you've locked SM Peak out as well. You have made sure that they are not going to be facing you in that playoffs, and realistically just dominating and showing that you're the strongest team moving forward. Now, Yannick, they've heard a lot from us. Twitch chat have heard a lot of us talking. So let's bring back our desk host. Let's bring back CCV. Hello, man. How are you doing? Well, it looks like Discord last time, VMix this time. Hello, CCV. Welcome. You were going into some really good stuff there about watching these two teams.
I was, and I think personally, I was just talking about how Makers Academy have been performing so far. And, you know, they've played 7 total play days, 14 total maps. Out of those 14, they've drawn 2, lost none, and won 12. So absolute, brilliant stuff coming out from them. You know, we'll talk about Makers Academy, the journey they've had so far, the journey they'll have in the future, all of that later. But you know what, apart from that, let's focus on what happened right now. Let's focus on what happened in Oregon. Because there are certainly some things that Makers Academy were, let's just say, falling short on, to be honest. You know, there were a couple of rounds where I was a bit confused about the behavior. Either, like they were saying in the game chat, I guess, they were trolling a bit, they were messing around. You know, one round just particularly comes to my mind, which was, I'd assume, it was round number 4 in the attack of Makers Academy. So, to put it into context, Enk from SN Peak is playing towards T3 inside of tower at the top right there, holding angle, shooting drones. Makers Academy decide to repel into the tower. That's it. They didn't try to clear him out earlier. They had information about him. You know, he very clearly shot a drone of one of the attackers. Unfortunately, I forgot which exact attacker, but they were aware of his presence. That's the main thing. And even apart from that, they just decided to flood in. So I think that's a bit laziness from their part. You know, they were just on autopilot mode and they didn't know what to do, repelled in. You cannot really comment on a round like that. It was just weird overall. However, still I think that was one of their more lazy rounds, like I mentioned. When they're in form, when they know what to do, they can get the job done easy peasy. So that's Makers Academy, well established. Even SN Peak, you know, like you were mentioning, that they've unfortunately lost their spot out of championship playoffs. They'll still be in the contenders division for the next season. We'll talk about all of the standings in just a second. But yeah, SNP, they've shown signs of improvement within a short span of time. That's one of the ways to describe them. I think one of the examples which I can give would be rounds 1 and 2. The first round was a Dom's hold, and SNP, they lost that in a rather dominating fashion. 4 people of Makers Academy were alive, none for the side of SNP, and they were all dead. They lost the round. Come the next round, they were much more active. I remember, Enk all by himself in Armory getting that double kill onto Iana and Thermite, causing a huge ruckus for the side of Makers Academy. And after that, he wasted a lot of utility in terms of Thermite flashbangs, Iana frag grenades. He wasted a lot of manpower of his opponents. Like I mentioned, Iana and Thermite died, and not only that, more importantly, he wasted the time of the attackers. And all in all, that trifecta really meant that SNP had a good round ahead of them. They won that, and they showed signs of improvement. So those were some of the key factors we have to take in from this match going forward into the future, not only in ECS, more and more as seasons go on and as time goes on for both SNP and Makers Academy. And talking about the future as well, we have all our contenders divisions team decided. I mean, their standings are undecided just yet. However, we have seen and we know which teams are going to qualify for the playoffs and which teams will still stay in contenders division. So can we have the standings up again, yet again, on our screens, dear producer?
It seems that our producer is asleep at the wheel. This is kind of unfortunate, but we can we get
have the standings again? All right, there it is. So yeah, quick spoilers alert. We did mention in the pre-show that there was going to be a second game, which would have been AQUALIX versus Team MANIC. That, however, well, it's been forfeited by Team AQUALIX. They don't have enough people on board, so sadly they have forfeited, and Team MANIC will be getting the 6 points necessary. Well, it would have been necessary for them to qualify, but they're, as we can see on our screens, at the bottom of the table, so they'll be staying there. So will AQUALIX. They won't be qualifying at all. Same goes for SNP. And our 4 teams have been decided, which is, of course, The Last Resort, Paragon, Rocket, and, of course, Makers Academy. So I'd say that it's been good for all of these 4 teams so far. And this is a question, Yannick, I want to ask you. Looking at these 4 teams, the teams that have qualified towards the championship playoffs, where exactly do you see them heading towards into that? Do you see them maybe towards the semi-finals, or do you think one of these 4 teams can maybe even, I don't know, win the championship playoffs? So what are your thoughts on these 4 specific teams?
Well, if you're going to talk about people winning the whole playoffs, I think there's only one team that I can really call that I can say this team really has a chance, and that's of course Makers Academy. They showed today and throughout the whole season that they know how to play the game. They haven't dropped a single map. They haven't lost a single map, excuse me. So they know what they're doing, and I think if I got to pick one that's going to possibly win, it's going to be Makers Academy from this lineup.
All right, and yeah, and also in other news, for the teams that haven't qualified but are still going to stay in division, they are going to stay in the contenders division. Team MANIC, AQUALIX, SNP, and even Speechless. They still have good journeys. Even though Team MANIC, they came in last in their previous Playday, they played a very close game against Makers Academy themselves at the top of the tables. 5-7s like we were mentioning all around. So I still think that these bottom 4 teams, they have the caliber to win further and further as the seasons go on. But what, apart from that, I think, Yannick, what you were mentioning about Makers Academy having a great journey so far and possibly even winning the championship playoffs, that is a great segue, which I was just about to ask, that, in Season 2, we had this team from the Open Division. Their name was Shreks and Hobbits. Later, they were known as Eclipse Esports. All the way from Open Division, they had the worst seed out of all of the 16 teams in the championship playoffs, and they ended up winning ECS Season 2. So, much like that, McCready, do you think that Makers Academy have a chance of, re-establishing themselves as a team who can win the entire playoffs?
Yeah, I definitely think the potential is there. Realistically, though, what I want to see is Rocket Gaming moving forward. This is a team that's come in and has realistically just been defined as coming in as a, well, I'm going to be honest, a rank play style team. But they've shown a lot of development, they've shown a lot of potential and prowess when it does come to the strategy, when it does come to dealing with a lot of these more mechanically gifted teams. They've shown that they can do a lot of the improvement necessary, so them and Makers Academy, I think they've got a strong chance moving forward through the playoffs. But I'm very excited to just see how it's all going to move forward.
Certainly, certainly. And you know what, like we've mentioned, the next game that was supposed to happen has unfortunately been forfeited by AQUALIX. So before we take leave for the day, Yannick and McCready, do you guys have any final thoughts on, you know, how this matchup has gone so far and the futures of both SNP and Makers Academy?
Take it away.
Oh, well, I think nothing but a GG. Definitely Makers Academy, a very good, strong showing. Before we do start moving forward, definitely bringing along Carriero as one of those more permanent players into the team, giving them the last couple of playdays to get into as soon as Apex started to take a more, well, relaxed role and not play as much. Realistically, bringing Carriero in, giving them the time to really adjust and learn these strategies, it's paying off quite a bit. And going into the playoffs, I think it's only going to get much, much better. Yannick, moving forward, what do you think?
I think SNP showed that they're a team with great class. The last map they played, they absolutely got stomped the first map 7-1, and the second map they came back, pulled it back to a 4-7. They showed that they have it in them. They drew it a couple times, they evened out the split. So I want to see them maybe next season showing that what they're worth and ending up higher on the scoreboard, which I think they definitely can.
Well, they certainly can, and I think that concludes our 7th Playday on Monday today of Elite Championship Series, the Contenders Division. We'll be back tomorrow with more games, more exciting stuff as we're heading in towards the end of the group stages. A lot to be decided in all of the divisions. So till then, we'll be taking leave. We'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. We'll be here same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.